and Brad McKenzie starts on the ground on a wing.
Well, what a time for the young man to come in for his first game. The Kangaroos with a massive task ahead. It's a big one for them for the season. They're 3 goals behind the Western Bulldogs, and there's a matter of urgency here. Not the greatest of handball for Harvey, but they'll get a second chance here. So Harvey, and he waited to see what the best option was. Gave it plenty, kicked it as deep as he could. They all watched as Edwards flew hard for it. Swallow had to go again. Made sure he didn't give away the free. Now might earn one for holding the ball. No.
He's had a frustrating afternoon, Brent Harvey. We saw him playing for a free kick because there was a little bit of a hold. Liam Picken grabbing him in the middle of the ground, but he's just been too concerned about milking the free kicks instead of finding a way to contribute.
Minson, good follow-up work, got it to boot. Picken tried to deal it out. In fact, maybe he didn't. I think he was happy just to lock it back up again.
He did well in the end. He looked around. There was no one to give the handball. He disguised that well.
So tense moments for North Melbourne fans, but the Western Bulldogs thoroughly deserving their 18-point lead. Thomas. All right. Free kick paid.
Yeah, against Addison.
Edwards and Petrie are deep still. Harper's also in the mix. Adams joins them.
Bulldogs have to guard the dangerous space here.
This is not beyond him, Thomas.
He's having a look.
It will take a monster kick. And in the end, it probably wasn't a great decision. He probably either had to set it up or know that he could make the distance. It's probably a bit early for handy points, but it does take them within 17. As Premi collects the mark.
Along to Cordy. Had to get boundary side then, Cordy.
Delaney flew. Griffin. He had players in front and behind, and Cordy cursing as that one goes out.
He's got Ferrito at the back. It looks
There's
like
Hamish McIntosh with the substitutes vest on. Ice on that right knee.
Oh, gee, that gave a little bit of a look for Chancellor Accuser.
Question from a North Melbourne perspective, Spuddies. What can they change? What can they generate to try and turn things around?
I think we've just got to win the hard ball, mate. The stats, the contested ball, they've just been smacked today. That's got to be player-driven. I think from the coaching box now, it's, you know, he just has to rely on his leadership players in North Melbourne, and Zeeble and Swallow, Harvey and Wells to get plenty of the ball.
Such authority at the moment, the Bulldogs. Delaney does wonderfully well not to give away a free there. And they are out on the wing, so maybe this can come to something more promising. Swallows kick finds Petrie. It's a vacant forward 50,
Adams
so
running hard.
Kick and run, and he runs and doesn't quite get there. Keeps his feet, but so did Murphy, and that's another behind.
It's an opportunity lost. That was the perfect kick from Drew Petrie. Couldn't have kicked it any better.
The only move I would say with Drew Petrie, maybe put him in the ruck and tell him to push forward. It looks like Lake's got his measure today. See if he can generate a couple of scoring opportunities with him in the ruck, get a different matchup with Goldstein at full forward on Lake.
Oh, crunch. Down goes Ryan Griffin.
Umpire doesn't intervene though, lets them play. Wallace to the wing. Thompson and Chancellor accuse it. Thompson did well but went to ground, so couldn't have an impact as Minson arrived. Now he does. Big
Don't
win.
argue.
No whistle there, so the kick goes deep. Oh, was that in the back? No, it's waved on. Cordy, Ferrito. Higgins arrives.
Great effort, Ferrito. It was desperate stakes there. Ferrito, Cordy and Higgins bearing down on him.
The big don't argue from Will Minson. I thought he was going to do too much. He just pushed Scott Thompson off.
16 points. It's as close as they've got for a quarter or so. Still just bubbling around. Picken, Cordy. Adams anticipating they'd try and get it through to Murphy. Did well to win the ball, not so clean with his disposal. Delaney just gave it up. Wallace kicks
right.
in pain. Wallace out to Hargrave. They're coming here, the Roos though. McMillan onto the wing, has to be clean. Edwards couldn't get clear. Umpire waves him on some more. Petrie. And now Bastonak can craft a kick for Harvey. He's got to get it to Thomas. He waited.
Great vision.
Well, it was, but it's still to be done now.
Oh, didn't get the bounce.
Didn't get there for Delaney. Good tackle. Great tackle.
He knew where the loose player was, Brent Harvey, but he just couldn't get it there on the full. He had to rely on the bounce of the footy. Have a look at this for a smother. Oh, right to the shoulder.
Yeah, it was the weight of the ball on the extended arm, which puts pressure on your shoulder joint, especially when you got the taping there. So he's got an injury there, Sammy Wright.
Bit ginger.
There's Premi, who's been terrific today, but that was close to holding the ball. Wallace. Boyd calmly kicks it outside the 50. Atley gathers the footy and gathers his thoughts. Anthony off the left for Petrie. Line ball stuff and the skipper, Matthew Boyd, willed himself onto the contest and takes the mark.
Well, Brian Lake was spent. He couldn't get there on Petrie. He relied on his skipper to fill the void.
Oh, there's a lot of tired boys out there, that's for certain.
Look at Sherman running hard. Had to honour that lead. That was a terrific lead from 60 or 70 metres away.
It's a big period here, this 5 minutes for the leaders of the Western Bulldogs. You just feel if they can hold strong and lead the way and just remain composed, they'll hang on. But if not, the Kangaroos are coming.
We are seeing a glimpse of the future for the Western Bulldogs here with Big Roughhead and Cordy dragging down some marks. Grant. Oh, what about that?
Well, Hutto, that's the 18th contested mark to the Bulldogs. Only 3 to North Melbourne. Going into this game, you'd think that North Melbourne had an advantage in the contested mark situation, but Sammy Wright, have a look at his right arm in this situation. He's standing the mark. He's cradling that right arm with the bandage.
Well, Jared Grant, this would be a big time to step up and kick a goal. 4 goals, 5 going into the game today. He's a man who had a lot of promise, hasn't quite delivered yet for the Bulldogs, still young at 22. And this time it's a behind away to the left.
Do you have to move him out of the back line, Danny, with that injured shoulder that he's got at the moment, right or not?
Well, you give me one more contest, Kingy, because I didn't like that one there. You can just see the strength there, the right arm. There's no strength in it whatsoever. And just after that marking situation, he did cradle that right arm. So the last thing you need is a deficiency deep in defence.
Jack Zeeble shows his prowess over his head that time. Takes the mark.
I'm not sure they've got the run left to actually kick the score they need, North Melbourne.
Harvey goes for the numbers, and Edwards, if they can win it cleanly here, they had the man over the top, and they don't quite get it there. And that's the way it's been today for North Melbourne, just not quite. And for that, you must give enormous praise to the Western Bulldogs.
He did well then, Paddy, Best Premi. He came off his man to create the outnumbered situation. He looks tired too. Mark Austin for the Bulldogs. Can barely get to Edwards.
That's one avenue that maybe they can use, but he's done a good job on him. Gets out the back to Dalehouse. Sherman. Murphy adapted to the call. Right again. He's one-arm banded at the moment. Delaney, terrific move. Ferrito too, chancing his arm a little bit. Gets it up to the wing. The give from Cunnington to Wells. Puts it on the chest of Harper.
That's a brilliant kick from Daniel Wells. Under pressure, just lowered his eyes.
It's a critical kick, isn't it?
Big?
It opens the door if he can kick this.
You can sense that the 20,000 strong crowd here at Etihad know how big this moment is. I'm sure Kieran Harper realises it as he stands from the 50. It's a little left, it's coming back, but not enough. And he's only going to get a certain number of opportunities in this last term.
3 behinds to North Melbourne. 5 inside 50s in this last quarter.
So Hargrave on the very last line takes it out to Boyd.
I'd like to see Matty Boyd involved. This is what we're talking about. A little bit of composure down back.
King, when does Brendan McCartney activate his sub in Clay Smith, or he just lets it ride now?
Lets it ride. I think he played yesterday, Danny, so I'd be surprised if he came on, but it looks like he's getting ready to come on now, which is a shock.
Yeah, I think, would he take a tall off in a Roughhead or a... Because Roughhead's been marking the ball, but it looks like that may be the case.
It is. Roughhead's just putting it on now, the red vest.
Petrie trying to farm it off, but Brian Lake It was smothered, but still mission accomplished for Brian Lake, and there's high fives everywhere.
Yeah, King's right. There's Roughhead, the tall player, so that'll put a lot of pressure on Courtney, being the only tall player in the Bulldogs forward half.
Goldstein, Liberatore, Griffin, back to the wing. This is a position where North are starting to win the footy, where they weren't earlier in the day. Farito, Delaney, Anthony, into the 50s, charge full chest. Edwards, he's trying so hard, but Austin's always been able to just get a quick step in when he's needed.
Oh, that's a great spoil, That is a magnificent defensive spoil there from Austin. The kick was perfect to Edwards.
Now, Liberatore. More time eroded for the Dogs. 11 minutes, 30 remaining. Mitch Wallace.
The last thing North need to do is to go in their shells.
Are the Dogs, you mean?
Sorry, the Dogs. Sorry, Hutto, you're absolutely spot on. They just need to keep taking the game on.
Well, 3 goals won't be easy. Addison.
Beautiful kick.
We're almost at the stage now where another goal.
Well, they need Minson to get forward because Roughhead's been subbed off, so it's Minson or Cordy.
Cordy with one, but not the second. Griffin still an ever-present danger. Sherman and Griffin again. Winds it up to the square. One-hander.
How's the kick from Griffin? Oh, seriously. That is a beautiful kick to the top of the square.
Gian Siracusa marks it.
He read it beautifully, Hutto. He knew where the ball was going. He knew the kicking distance for Griffin. Under pressure, tied about 50 metres. That's a dangerous kick. That puts any defender under
playing on him there too.
Puts him under extreme pressure, that kick.
So Daniel Gian Siracusa, his daughter Ruby said she wanted 4 today, but 3 will do if they bring home a victory.
Well, he's still got plenty of time to get his 4th anyway.
Yes.
Gian Siracusa, as the boys fight over that footy up in the crowd, that is probably the one the Bulldogs were most reliant on today, just to take a little bit of the sting out of any potential North comeback. Just place some real doubt in their minds.
Brian Griffin up to 30 disposals now, 22 kicks, 12 inside 50s. Had similar numbers last week.
There's no better kick than that one, Hutto. That is just an amazing kick from Ryan Griffin. Great connection between himself and Daniel Gian Siracusa. He knew the ball was going to the dangerous area.
Well, we've said it time and time again about this being a critical passage of play, but there's almost no tomorrow now for North Melbourne. 22 points in it. 1 more would finish them off.
Let him run, boys.
Matty Boyd having a well-earned break on the bench. He's up to 37 possessions.
Goldstein and the follow-up work. Harvey under 10 minutes and it's back to 16. What a standoff it's been between these two sides. They've held them at bay and held them since midway through the second quarter when they first got out to that 3-goal lead. They've been able to nudge it up to 4 but not go any further. Minson got the tap down. Bastanak. Fearless play. Dalhouse, young Clay Smith's in there as well from the Dogs. I'll try and lock it in.
You know, they've controlled this from the very start, the Bulldogs. This would be absolute theft if North Melbourne won, but it's not out of the realms of possibility right at the moment. Contested possession, a flogging in favour of the Bulldogs.
One thing that North have got in their favour, though, they've had 8 inside 50s to 4, so the Bulldogs, for mine, need to keep generating scores because North are really pressing now.
Boyd, you heard the call. Somehow it got into Dalhouse's hands.
How?
Sherman. Out into the clear, cross, had a little look. His kick not great. It's out of bounds.
Instead of having a look, if he had taken 3 steps forward, and that's the type of player he is. He loves to bring players into the game, Daniel Cross.
He knows that was an opportunity lost.
Whether he heard a voice out the back.
Minson. Wells.
There's some tired boys out there.
Swallow. Had the courage to take them on a little bit. Let's see where it ends up. Grant. There's Premi, bit of tunnel ball action. Petrie somehow got it to a teammate, but Bastanek puts it straight back into the maze of players. And it goes the Dogs' way. Liberatore had some telling touches today. Murphy was held for a moment, not long enough for a free. Atley walks straight into the heart of trouble. And I think it's Tory Dixon who just won't let him go. Great tackle from the man in his third game.
That's his 7th tackle, Hutto, inside the forward 50. It's already kicked 4.
Oh, what a wonderful contribution he's made.
It's the perfect half-forwards game. He's kicked 4 and hasn't allowed North to generate that run from the half-back line.
Boyd somehow got it through his boot. Cunnington just got in a slightly better position, and they know now this is a matter of urgency for the Roos. Oh, it's a terrible clanger straight to Gian Siracusa. Was that a push from Cordy? No!
It was a front-on push, Hutto. He kept his eyes on the ball, and the umpire was right there. It was just a slight, subtle push with the hands in the chest.
You know, he's worked hard today, Liam Anthony, but I'd love to know what was going through his head when he fired that hand pass out. It's nowhere near whoever he's looking for.
But Delaney also, he had to protect the ball drop.
40, well, the kick.
Just to keep things alive.
Yeah, he's in on the act.
But just getting back to that marking situation there, Luke Delaney will learn from that, because he allowed Ace Cordy to come in to the ball drop zone. He had an opportunity to use his body to keep Cordy out of that situation.
That's farcical. He's got to go back and get the original footy.
It is. It's like a bad comedy, isn't it, that? So the kick goes for Delaney, and it was a good-looking jump for it, but it didn't come down. There's Premi.
And they'll love these stoppages, the Bulldogs. Just keep chewing up the clock. They've been good at the stoppages all day. Won the clearances 39-31. Still getting ready to head downstairs again, is he?
Yeah, he's got a little rotation going himself, Brendan McCartney today. Half the quarter in the box and half on the bench.
Look at Wells, just somehow got the ball forward. But
great use of the body from Boyd.
They are not going to lie down here, the Bulldogs, that's for sure. The Roos are giving them everything. But their leaders have achieved so much today that they are not going to let this happen. That's the way it appears.
The Boards had 40 disposals, Hutto, 17 contested possessions, 9 clearances.
7 minutes remaining. It's getting to the emergency stage now for the Kangaroos. Boyd watches as Picken kicks them into the 50. Almost slipped out the back. Thompson, Higgins.
He's gone to ground, Thompson.
Oh, took him straight back into trouble for Ito. Sherman! Oh.
You would think one puts them away.
Oh, yeah.
The reality is the Kangaroos don't look like getting one.
No, you're right, Kingy, they don't.
Because the Dogs have just been first class with their pressure all day, and there's no easy ball. And we've seen late in games, late in quarters, most games open up, but the Dogs, they just held firm.
Well, not only that, Kingy, they've out handball received North Melbourne. The Western Bulldogs handball receives 128, North Melbourne 116. So that's an amazing stat in itself.
No movement coming from further afield.
Oh, there's a fumble. Just to open the door a little for Drew Petrie. And it's Bastanak on tired legs. He goes to ground. An opportunity. Oh, and he's been pinned.
That's a weird decision.
Well, that had to be a ball up. Because I thought the Bulldogs initiated the first scrimmage, and then it ended up in Bastanak's hands.
Liberatore. Dixon. Swallow. Is that deliberate? It's in the back. Which way? It's a Kangaroos ball.
It's a tough game, every contest.
They still breathe, but they've been strangled here by the Western Bulldogs.
Just don't know if there's any run in the legs that's going to create something for them.
There's no juice for the Roos, and there is for the Dogs. Lake takes another telling mark, and I reckon they'll spread and be happy just to chip it around now. I think they just about can from here.
What's Brian Lake's 5th contested mark?
23 possessions for Brian Lake.
I think we're going to get a lot of feedback in the post-game about some of the umpiring and all, some of the controversial decisions. But the reality is, plus 49 contested possessions is a smashing. And I think the Dogs are credited.
Yeah. And that's one thing North Melbourne pride themselves on.
And that there have been a few confusing decisions, but it's had absolutely no impact on the outcome of the match.
And all you heard pre-season about Brendan McCartney, what's he brought to the table, and they've got to win the hard ball. They've got to win the contested footy. You know, the hits, Daniel Cross, Matty Boyd, they've been outstanding in that area today.
Well, North Melbourne have got nothing left to give. That's the way it seems at the moment. 18 points. It's a triumph for the Dogs. It's not done yet, but where's it going to come from for the Roos? Swallow. They are just swamping them. Boyd. Cordy. Now, maybe into the clear. Right. Sends Wells.
It's open.
It is open. No mistakes from here, and the Roos might be able to get one and still be in the contest. High ball. Well, Edwards, he's got a yard, and he marks it. So the first step completed.
This is the bloke you want kicking.
Yeah.
This is right on his range, though, Jace.
Yeah,
He told us that on Insider last week. He's not comfortable kicking from 50 plus.
This will be right on the 50-metre arc.
Well, at the end of the day, it's so hard just to summon up something that Aaron Edwards knows this just has to be a goal.
No, he hooked it, looking for the extra distance.
Looking for someone to take the mark or come up with the miracle. It's just not going to be that kind of day for North Melbourne. Cross.
Oh, look, Sherman's on it. They move the ball quickly.
Big Will.
Slow.
Oh, Ferrito's gone down.
Little ankle tap.
And now they can flow forward. Sherman to John Syracuse. He might get 4 after all.
Great spoil.
Not from that one. Delaney. Oh, straight into trouble. He had no legs to get away. And Clay Smith, the sub, is going to earn the free.
Well, there's the game in itself, Hutto. The tackling pressure that the Bulldogs have put on. The subs come on. Clay Smith hasn't had a disposal yet, but they're away then, North Melbourne. Have a look at this tackle.
I reckon you called it well, Hunter. He was too tired to do anything else. Everything had just gone out of the body.
But you've got to hand it to young Clay Smith. He's come on, you know, in the heat of the game, and he needs to stand up, and he nails the tackle.
Well, they lead by 18. Clay Smith can put it beyond doubt. Coming on as the sub. His first kick of the afternoon. It went mighty close, but marked by Thompson. So they breathe, but it's the
point would have been good for the Western Bulldogs.
No, you just 2 minutes 27. It's just not enough time, is it really?
Well, they're going to have to play perfect football, North Melbourne.
But there's a stagnant field at the moment.
And going wide is not. I know he's found his teammate, but
The Bulldogs just need to go 1-on-1. Just don't allow this.
So Harvey tries to orchestrate something from the middle. Happy to go short and get it back, as he's done so many times over the years. They're hopelessly outnumbered, though. This is the Western Bulldogs' day. There'll be lots of stories about North Melbourne and their disappointment and what they've not been able to achieve here today. But this is the Western Bulldogs, and Brendan McCartney coming in as the huge underdogs. And this is a red-letter day for the Dogs. Out to the wing. That's a brilliant mark.
Contested mark 22 to the Western Bulldogs. 22 contested marks. You talk about the contested ball at ground level. It's been in the air as well. The dominance.
How many contested marks for North Melbourne?
Only the 8.
22 to 8.
Back it goes to Addison.
They've effectively given them a lesson in every aspect of the game, haven't they?
They've been too good, too hard, too tough.
Well, when you look at those numbers, it's amazing they haven't won by 7 goals, isn't it, really?
It was 59 inside 50s to 46.
Who would have thought that coming in? Daniel Cross.
Oh, you've got to love him.
The Bulldogs fans, they love him, and they love Bob Murphy as well. They've had a few lows already this year. They got absolutely spanked here by St Kilda, but I guess the word was always good on what Brendan McCartney's been trying to teach them. And they've shown it today.
Well, when your skipper gets 20 contested possessions, Hutto, you think the message is getting through, and Matty Boyd.
He's up to 44 possessions, Matty Boyd.
Ferrito along the line.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mark Austin, some of the spoils he's been able to put on today has been terrific.
They're still tackling. They've been tackling from the start, and they're tackling to the end. And it's a bitter end as far as North Melbourne is concerned.
There's
But
Brendan McCartney
he
there.
is
Well done.
he is a very proud man under there.
It's a great win for the Bullies.
It is stirring stuff for the Western Bulldogs. And the slogan is "There's something happening out west." And from what we can see today, there is. The Dogs win by 3 goals. What a win. What a gutsy performance. We're going to have a shot after the siren, so the score could change, but I don't think there'll be enough in the legs of any of the boys to keep it 60 at the moment. McMillan goes for the torp. Wasn't a bad effort. But the result remains the same. It's the Western Bulldogs climbing up for their 3rd victory in 4 weeks.
Oh, what an upset. It seriously is. I think everyone went to the ground today, other than the 22 Bulldogs players and the coaching staff.
Yep.
I thought North Melbourne were a far better team. They were taught a lesson today, a lesson in winning the hard ball, using the ball, the tackling pressure the Bulldogs put on, and the run, the courage. It's just been a red-letter day for the Bullies.
Gee, it's a tough day for Brad Scott. There's no doubt there'll be plenty of attention on him now and the Kangaroos and their position, as we've touched on a number of times. Almost a full list to choose from. And they've gone down. He was on the couch on Tuesday night too.
It was a concern, and it wasn't so much in the coach's box for North Melbourne. It was the number of players that just didn't perform anywhere near the levels they're capable of. They've lost Hamish McIntosh with a knee injury, but no such problems for the Western Bulldogs, and they were led very, very admirably well by their skipper today, David King, with Matty Boyd.
Oh, they were well led, all right. 44 disposals personally, but it means more than that. It means more to the club, doesn't it, this sort of win?
Yeah, it was a massive game for us, and after last week playing well for 3 quarters and then being really disappointing in the last quarter and letting the game slip away from us, it was really important to put a good 4-quarter effort together, and I think we did that tonight.
It was a really good team effort tonight as well. I thought that some of the younger players really took a step forward. Some great contested marks from Cordy and Roughhead, and even Dalhouse is improving, and Grant.
Yeah, everyone's improving, and I mean, that's all you can ask for. We've got a lot of young players who are really working hard to make improvements in their game, and tonight, I thought today, they were jumping at the ball and crashing a few packs, and that's all we can ask for.
Are you feeling like things have turned now for the Dogs, that you're really on the road back? You went through some hard stages at the start of the year, but things are really up and rolling now.
Oh, I wouldn't say up and rolling, but I think we're getting a few things right that we need to address. I think we haven't played terrible footy in the first couple of weeks. We had a really bad game against St Kilda. Apart from that, I think we've been going okay in patches, but as I said, it was just about putting 4 quarters together, and about time we did it.
Mate, go and enjoy this one.
Thanks, King.